In the world of cultivation, bloodlines decided status, history determined power, and only the oldest families could stand above the heavens. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. G Realm. What kind of person could be sealed within that five-colored vortex? And how could such a person possess the G Realm? As Wang Lin sped through the vast void, he found it impossible to calm the storm within his heart. Outwardly, his expression remained composed, tranquil as still water. Yet deep inside, towering waves crashed violently against one another. The peak of the G Realm lies at the nascent soul stage. The man I met back then came from the planet Five Elements. He possessed the G Realm as well and claimed it had been a gift from a deceased friend. Aside from him, this is only the second time I have encountered it. Wang Lin pondered deeply as he passed countless drifting fragments in the void, steadily heading toward the heart of the celestial realm. Could it be that there truly exists a method to make the G Realm evolve? Wang Lin's heartbeat suddenly quickened and his mouth grew dry. Having possessed the G Realm for several hundred years, he understood more clearly than most just how terrifying and mysterious that power truly was. Ji, Dao, Shi. He murmured the words inwardly, turning them over again and again in his mind. But the truth was that he knew far too little. The fragments of understanding in his possession were insufficient to piece together the greater mystery. After a long moment, he let out a soft sigh, abandoning the fruitless speculation and turning his focus back to the collection pavilion. Traveling through the void should have been an extremely dull affair. After all, the void was immeasurably vast, and most cultivators spent the majority of their time residing upon the scattered fragments. They only passed through the empty expanse when traveling from one fragment to another. Yet during the half-month that Wang Lin and Li Yuan journeyed through the void, streaks of light could frequently be seen in the distance, some near, some far. At first, Wang Lin paid them little mind. However, after a full month of traveling forward, the number of cultivators they encountered gradually increased. Most of them were at the ascendant stage, and every so often, an illusory yin cultivator would appear among them. Some traveled alone. Others moved in pairs or small groups. A few journeyed alongside their family members. All of them hurried through the void like shooting stars. This unusual sight gradually drew the attention of both Wang Lin and Li Yuan. Though the cultivators they passed displayed many different expressions, the faint excitement burning in their eyes was strikingly similar. Those cultivators naturally noticed Wang Lin and Li Yuan as well. When some recognized that Wang Lin's cultivation exceeded the ascendant stage, vigilance immediately appeared in their eyes. Without exception, they detoured around the pair, clearly unwilling to provoke trouble. "Brother Shu, something feels wrong," Li Yuan said thoughtfully. Could some major event have occurred? Along the way, he had seen far too many cultivators. Such a phenomenon was exceedingly rare within the void. Moreover, the closer they drew toward the center of the celestial realm, the more cultivators appeared. It almost seemed as if every cultivator within the Thunder Celestial realm was converging toward a single region. "They are not heading toward the same place," Wang Lin suddenly said, his eyes flashing with insight. "There are 4 directions. What exactly happened?" Li Yan frowned deeply as he watched yet another group of cultivators streak past. Wang Lin remained silent for a moment, pondering. Then, without another word, he increased his speed, bringing Li Yuan along as they shot forward even faster. At that very moment, more than 10 streaks of sword energy tore across the distant void. Dense origin energy radiated from those streaks, creating an overwhelming pressure that caused all surrounding cultivators to instinctively avoid their path. The 10 sword lights surged forward like tyrannical dragons. Even the large families with numerous cultivators immediately withdrew the moment they noticed them. As for lone cultivators, the moment they glimpsed those terrifying sword rays, they halted in place, not daring to obstruct their passage in the slightest. In the blink of an eye, nearly every cultivator before Wang Lin stepped aside, clearing a path. Wang Lin's gaze remained calm as he silently watched the approaching sword lights. The streaks of sword energy did not slow down and swept past like meteors flying deeper into the void. Yet just as they were about to disappear into the darkness, one of the sword lights suddenly turned, shooting straight toward Wang Lin. At the same moment, the other sword rays halted mid-air. Their light faded, revealing a group of male and female cultivators. Every single one of them possessed cultivation beyond the ascendant stage. Most were illusory yin cultivators, while only a handful had reached the corporeal yang stage. After revealing themselves, they all turned their gazes toward the sword light flying toward Wang Lin, confusion filling their eyes. Not only them, the surrounding cultivators also followed the movement of that sword ray with great curiosity. Li Yuan's expression changed slightly. Raising his left hand, he silently prepared a restriction. Only Wang Lin remained utterly calm. He simply inclined his head slightly toward the approaching sword light. The sword ray halted 200 feet before him. The light slowly dissipated, revealing a man who appeared to be about 30 years old. His complexion was pale and smooth, without a trace of facial hair, giving him a slightly handsome appearance. However, his narrow phoenix-shaped eyes created an odd contradiction, for they carried a faintly feminine charm. He wore a golden-purple robe and stood tall and upright. Cupping his fists respectfully toward Wang Lin, he spoke with great reverence. "Junior Zhan Konglie greets senior." The moment those words left his mouth, everyone who heard them was stunned. Countless gazes immediately fell upon Wang Lin. Although the number of cultivators present was not particularly large under the convergence of all those stares, it felt no different from standing before tens of thousands. Yet Wang Lin's expression did not change in the slightest. He remained as calm as still water. Zhan Konglie was a well-known figure, and several cultivators immediately recognized him. Even those who did not know him could sense the powerful origin energy emanating from him. Once they heard his name, they quickly realized that he was Zhan Konglie of the Southern Domain. Who is that person? His cultivation seems similar to Zhan Konglie's. How could the famous Zhan Konglie address him as senior? I heard Zhan Konglie has already become a messenger of the Thunder Celestial Temple. If even he calls this person senior, could this be an elder of the Thunder Celestial Temple? Various thoughts erupted in the minds of the surrounding cultivators. Meanwhile, the more than 10 cultivators accompanying Zhan Konglie stared at Wang Lin with disbelief. They were all prodigies within their respective families. When Zhan Konglie had suddenly changed direction earlier, he had offered them no explanation. Now that they heard him respectfully address this stranger as senior, their curiosity only deepened. After all, Zhan Konglie possessed one of the highest cultivation levels among them. More importantly, they knew his temperament well. He was an extremely arrogant individual. Not the shallow arrogance displayed outwardly, but the deep-rooted pride born from true talent. Even the elders of his own family often failed to receive his respect. For him to willingly bow his head and call someone senior was an exceptionally rare sight. Yet Zhan Konglie's respect toward Wang Lin was genuine, completely sincere. The moment he saw Wang Lin, he sensed the aura of a corporeal yang cultivator, and a trace of melancholy arose within him. He truly deserves to be called a senior. Back then, when he suppressed his cultivation to the ascendant stage, I was completely unable to perceive it. Now he suppresses himself at the corporeal yang stage, yet I still cannot see through him at all. The respect in Zhan Konglie's eyes deepened. After leaving the Thunder Lake back then, he had felt a profound sense of melancholy. He had even been deeply envious of Shen Gonghu. When he returned home, he had hesitated repeatedly, wondering whether he should have followed Shen Gonghu's example and seized that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Later, when news reached him that Shen Gonghu had been punished by his family and abandoned by the Thunder Celestial Temple, his feelings became incredibly complicated. Had he not experienced the Thunder Lake incident himself, he would likely have laughed loudly and mocked Shen Gonghu's misfortune. But after witnessing everything firsthand, he found himself agreeing with Shen Gonghu's choice. In fact, he even felt sorrow. Deep in his heart, he had come to admire him. Meanwhile, Li Yuan stared blankly at Wang Lin, his mind completely blank. He naturally knew the name Zhan Konglie. Among the younger generation of the southern domain, Zhan Konglie, Donghua, and Tan Yanfeng were known as the three great prodigies. Each of them had astonishingly reached the corporeal yang stage at a young age. Yet now, Zhan Konglie had just addressed Xu Mu as senior. The shock left Li Yuan utterly speechless. Wang Lin frowned slightly as he looked at Zhan Konglie. "Where are you heading in such haste?" When Zhan Konglie saw Wang Lin's brow crease, his heart trembled. He became even more respectful. 4 fragments of the Thunder Celestial Temple have recently begun emitting powerful fluctuations of celestial, spiritual energy, he quickly explained. However, those locations are sealed by powerful restrictions that cannot be opened in a short time. But it is obvious that once those restrictions are broken, great treasures will appear. After learning of this matter, Junior decided to come and investigate. Wang Lin glanced around. It was clear that the surrounding cultivators had all learned of this news through various channels. That was why so many people had gathered here. Protected by restrictions, Wang Lin narrowed his eyes. After a brief moment of thought, he waved his hand. "In that case, I hope you obtain a good harvest." Zhan Konglie hesitated for a moment before respectfully saying, "Junior does not have much confidence. I wonder if Senior might have time." He paused slightly before continuing. "Junior has also arranged to meet brother Shen Gonghu at the fragment to the left. We intend to join forces in seizing the treasure." Wang Lin's frown deepened. "I have other important matters to attend to. If time permits, I will go take a look." Zhan Konglie immediately nodded, his face lighting up with excitement. Aside from Wang Lin, only a few elders from his family or the Thunder Celestial Temple could make him reveal such an expression. Since Senior said this, then my chances of obtaining the treasure this time are certain. Zhan Konglie felt a surge of confidence. After respectfully bidding farewell, he returned to the group of cultivators and continued flying forward. His companions followed him closely, their eyes still filled with curiosity. Only after they had flown far away did a woman in white finally ask softly, "Big Brother John, who was that person?" Zhan Konglie faintly smiled. Even now his eyes still carried traces of respect. "That was a powerful senior," he said calmly. "To have met him today was my good fortune." Under the watchful gazes of countless cultivators, Wang Lin departed into the endless void, Li Yuan following closely behind him. The two figures gradually receded into the distance until they finally vanished into the dark expanse. Along the way, Li Yuan found himself wanting to ask several times, yet each time the words stopped at his lips. In the end, he never mentioned Zhan Konglie. Li Yuan was a perceptive man. He understood well that some questions should remain unasked. Everyone carried secrets of their own. Time flowed swiftly. In the blink of an eye, several months passed. As they drew nearer to the heart of the Thunder Celestial realm, the number of cultivators they encountered steadily increased. Streams of figures crisscrossed the void like meteors streaking across the night sky. But on this day, when they finally reached the true center of the Thunder Celestial realm, everything suddenly changed. There were no cultivators. Not a single soul could be seen. The surrounding void was utterly silent and pitch black. Standing quietly in the void, Wang Lin slowly swept his gaze across the darkness. According to the memories he had extracted from the Yao family member, the sealed fragment containing the collection pavilion should be located precisely here. After observing the surroundings for a moment, Wang Lin asked calmly, "Brother Li, do you notice anything unusual about this place?" The instant Wang Lin halted, Li Yuan had already begun examining the area. His hands moved rapidly as he studied the void around them. After a moment, his expression grew serious. He nodded slowly. "There are faint ripples of a restriction here," he said. "Although they are extremely subtle, my restriction heart can sense them. It resembles a celestial restriction, yet it is somewhat different." As he spoke, Li Yuan pressed his left hand downward. A restriction immediately shot out and split into 18 strands, scattering into the surrounding void. At that moment, an illusory outline suddenly flashed into existence. Then it vanished again. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. In the brief instant that outline appeared, he caught a glimpse of a half-transparent fragment suspended in the void. Upon that fragment stood a towering pavilion, but the vision had vanished too quickly, leaving no time to examine it clearly. Brother Xu Li Yuan said calmly, "I need some time." Whenever Li Yuan worked to break a restriction, an aura of quiet confidence naturally surrounded him. After speaking, he sat cross-legged within the void. His left hand continued forming seals, releasing restriction after restriction. These restrictions intertwined, layering upon one another with astonishing complexity. Occasionally, he would press his finger against his forehead. From the center of his brows, thin black lines would fly out, weaving themselves into the complex restrictions before vanishing into the void. Each time this happened, the shadow of the hidden fragment would briefly appear again, only to vanish the next instant. The interval was far too short to rush inside. Wang Lin remained completely calm. Rather than growing anxious, he carefully observed the fragment every time it appeared. As Li Yuan placed more restrictions into the void, the fragment began appearing more and more frequently. Gradually, Wang Lin gained a clearer view of the mysterious fragment. At its center stood a massive pavilion. From the pavilion rose 4 towering spires like long thorns piercing into the heavens. From a distance, they resembled 2 pairs of enormous bull horns reaching toward the sky. At the peak of each horn-like spire sat a person. All 4 figures remained perfectly still. Even when Wang Lin's gaze swept across them, they did not react in the slightest. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. A faint chill flashed across his eyes. Brother Xu Li Yuan said after a moment, "If we want to completely break this restriction, it will take several months." He paused briefly before continuing. "But if we only want to send you inside, then with your speed and my restrictions working together, there is an 80% chance of success." Wang Lin stepped forward and arrived at the edge of where the fragment occasionally appeared. "Then send me in," he said calmly. "Brother Li, conceal yourself well. This place is dangerous. Do not be implicated because of me. If I succeed in obtaining the celestial spell, we will leave immediately." Li Yuan wasted no time. He pointed between his brows and several black lines immediately shot out. They intertwined, forming a restriction brand. Then Li Yuan created countless restrictions, each one merging into that brand. Soon the brand began emitting waves of dark, flickering light. Li Yuan's eyes shone brightly. Pointing forward, he shouted, "Restriction heartburst." The restriction brand struck the void. Instantly the hidden fragment appeared once more. This time, however, it flickered violently, appearing, disappearing, and reappearing again in rapid succession. The continuous flickering created a dazzling display within the void. Meanwhile, the restriction brand continued emitting dark light. As the fragment flickered, the brand spread outward, forming a circular passage leading inside. However, the passage was unstable. It trembled violently as if it might collapse at any moment. "Enter," Li Yuan shouted. At that exact instant, Wang Lin moved. Like a bolt of lightning, he shot forward and charged into the circular passage. The moment he entered, the passage collapsed. At the same time, the fragment vanished once more, taking Wang Lin with it into the hidden space. Li Yuan stared quietly at the empty void. "I hope Brother Xu returns with a good harvest." After a moment of thought, he formed a hand seal. A restriction appeared around his body, slowly concealing his presence until even the faintest trace of his aura disappeared. The void returned to complete silence. Wang Lin appeared upon the fragment like a flash of lightning. The moment he materialized, his divine sense spread out in all directions. Behind him was no longer the endless void, but a dense screen of restrictions. These powerful restrictions isolated the fragment from the rest of the celestial realm, turning it into a forbidden zone controlled by the 4 great families. As his divine sense spread outward, it immediately locked onto the pavilion at the center. At that same moment, one of the 4 cultivators seated atop the spires suddenly opened his eyes. He glanced coldly into the distance. Then he vanished. Wang Lin moved with incredible speed, charging directly toward the pavilion. Suddenly, ripples of origin energy appeared before him. A figure stepped out. The man was middle-aged and dressed in black robes. His expression was cold and stern. The instant he appeared, he formed a seal with his hand and pressed it forward. "I have been observing you for quite some time," the man said coldly. "Trespassing upon forbidden ground. Die." His right hand flashed. A powerful force surged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin immediately retreated, waving his sleeve. The two waves of origin energy collided violently. A thunderous boom echoed across the entire fragment. The black-robed man's gaze remained cold. He had already sensed that Wang Lin's cultivation was equal to his own corporeal yang stage. Stepping forward, he formed another seal while muttering an incantation. A terrifying force suddenly descended from the sky. Moments later, a bolt of celestial thunder formed high above and crashed down toward Wang Lin. "This is the Thunder Celestial Realm," Wang Lin said with a cold snort. "The collection pavilion belongs to the Celestial Realm. If your 4 families can enter, why can't I?" The celestial thunder descended. Yet Wang Lin did not dodge. Instead, his origin soul emerged. With a roar, it devoured the descending thunder. Lightning instantly wrapped around Wang Lin's body, making him appear like a thunder god descending into the mortal world. The black-robed man was startled. His expression darkened. He clearly had not expected Wang Lin to directly devour celestial thunder. At that very moment, Wang Lin's eyes flashed. He opened his mouth and spat out a single grain of sand. The grain expanded instantly, transforming into the fragment stamp. An overwhelming pressure erupted from it as it smashed downward toward the black-robed man. "Because you are not qualified," the black-robed man sneered. He formed a hand seal to counter the attack. But in the next instant, his expression changed dramatically. His spell had no effect whatsoever on the descending fragment stamp. The stamp crashed downward with terrifying force. The pressure it emitted locked the black-robed man in place, preventing him from escaping. At the last moment, terror filled his eyes. He bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body erupted with crimson light. Just before the stamp struck, he broke free from the pressure and fled. He reappeared 1,000 feet away, his face pale, his gaze vicious. Without saying a word, he turned and fled. Wang Lin raised his hand, recalling the stamp. Then he gave chase. The two figures shot toward the pavilion at the center of the fragment. The black-robed man reached the pavilion first and shouted, "Why are you still not acting?" The remaining 3 cultivators opened their eyes. In an instant, they appeared beside him. 4 corporeal yang cultivators now stood together. Their powerful auras locked tightly onto Wang Lin. A suffocating, killing intent spread across the fragment. Wang Lin's eyes turned cold. "The collection pavilion does not belong to your 4 families," he said slowly. "Let me pass, and there will be no need for battle. If not, even if I fall today, half of you will die with me." One of them sneered coldly. "Unless you have reached the Nirvana Scrya stage, outsiders are not qualified to enter the pavilion." They had witnessed Wang Lin's earlier strength and were somewhat shocked. But with 4 of them together, they felt no fear. At that moment, the black-robed man stepped forward again. With a cold snort, he slapped his storage bag. A crimson flying sword shot out. With a flick of his finger, it flew toward Wang Lin. The other 3 immediately followed. One formed a seal, summoning a violent storm. A massive tornado appeared. The remaining 2 exchanged a glance before simultaneously forming seals. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. He retreated instantly. Then he raised his hand. The fragment stamp smashed down again. The 2 cultivators formed a yin-yang diagram that rotated rapidly, emitting mysterious energy as it rushed toward Wang Lin. The pair then flew into the sky, reinforcing the diagram with additional spells to prevent the stamp from descending. Meanwhile, the other 2 cultivators charged toward Wang Lin like lightning. Every step Wang Lin took caused ripples to spread through the air, as though his body had merged with the surrounding world. After retreating several steps, he suddenly stepped forward. With that single step, his figure vanished. When he reappeared, he stood directly behind the black-robed man. The man was horrified. He spun around as the red sword shot toward Wang Lin. But Wang Lin calmly raised his finger. Stop. In an instant, both the black-robed man and the flying sword froze in place. Without hesitation, Wang Lin stepped forward. He appeared before the man and pointed between his brows. Origin energy surged out. The black-robed man's body instantly collapsed. His origin soul flew out in panic, attempting to flee. But at that moment, the Karma whip appeared. The whip struck the origin soul. A miserable scream echoed out as massive amounts of origin energy spilled into the air. At that very moment, another cultivator rushed forward with the massive tornado, attempting to stop Wang Lin. Wang Lin did not even glance at him. The beast tattoo on the back of his hand suddenly moved. It materialized instantly and lunged toward the approaching cultivator. At the same time, Wang Lin slapped his storage bag. The 1 billion soul flag emerged. It expanded into a vast sea of black mist that swallowed the black-robed man's origin soul. The man attempted to resist, but when he saw the ferocious origin soul of the blood ancestor flickering within the flag, his mind went blank. In that moment of distraction, the black mist engulfed him completely. Everything had happened in the blink of an eye. After sealing away the black-robed man's origin soul, Wang Lin waved his sleeve. The black mist surged outward, surrounding the battlefield. His gaze turned toward the remaining three. "I want to enter the collection pavilion," he said coldly. The two cultivators resisting the fragment stamp trembled inwardly. Before they could respond, another cry echoed through the air. The cultivator controlling the tornado was retreating frantically. The beast spirit released a monstrous evil aura that filled the heavens and earth. The aura was unimaginably terrifying. Even Wang Lin himself felt a chill from its intensity. As for the other three cultivators, their expressions changed drastically. The tornado spell instantly turned into stone. When the beast's gaze fell upon the cultivator, his face turned pale. He retreated immediately, but the evil aura spread once more. Panic filled his eyes. His right arm suddenly turned grey. The grey rapidly spread across his body. At the moment of crisis, he made a brutal decision. With his left hand, he severed his own right arm. Ignoring the blood spraying everywhere, he fled over 10,000 feet away and sat down cross-legged. But the grey energy continued spreading. Despair filled his eyes. Just before it completely consumed him, his origin soul escaped, abandoning his body. His body instantly transformed into a lifeless stone statue. Only his weakened origin soul remained in the air. The surroundings fell completely silent. Wang Lin looked toward the remaining two cultivators resisting the stamp. His voice was cold as ice. "I will ask you once more. Am I qualified?" The cultivation families possessed a hierarchy that outsiders rarely understood. In the Alliance star system, a rank 7 cultivation planet was already considered the pinnacle of existence on the surface. Rank 8 cultivation planets were exceedingly rare, so rare that the entire Alliance star system had only 3. As for the most mysterious rank 9 cultivation planet, there existed only one throughout the entire system. The cultivation families of the All-Heaven star system followed a similar classification. Though their system placed greater emphasis on history and inheritance, only families that had endured through countless generations could become an eternal presence within the All-Heaven star system. Within the All-Heaven star system, the most common were the cultivation families that resided on the main cultivation planets of the 4 great domains. Their strengths were generally comparable, and each planet typically housed 3 or 4 major families. For example, the Tang family and the Zhan family were both peak forces on their respective planets. Above these ordinary cultivation families stood the 4 great families, whose inheritances traced back to the celestial realm itself. On the surface, they were the most powerful forces within the All-Heaven star system. If one traced their lineage far enough, the ancestors of these 4 families had all once been celestials of the Thunder Celestial realm before its collapse. Their origins alone ensured that their status was anything but ordinary. However, even above these 4 great families existed 2 additional families. These families rarely appeared in public and kept an extremely low profile. Yet they were the true ruling powers of the all-heaven star system. Their inheritances were even older than those of the four great families. These ancient families had already existed before the collapse of the celestial realm, and they had survived that cataclysm. Their legacy came from the ancient cultivation world itself. In the all-heaven star system, there were 6 such families. The mysterious Xiang family of planet Donglin, as well as Li Yuan's family, were among these 6. Yet after countless years had passed, many of these ancient families had gradually declined. The Li family was one such example. Aside from them, 3 others had fallen into decline as well. Now only 2 of those 6 ancient families still remained truly powerful. Just as the Alliance star system possessed its single rank 9 cultivation planet, the all-heaven star system also possessed a force that surpassed even those ancient families. It was a family whose history stretched all the way back to the primordial era. This primordial cultivation family was the true supreme power of the all-heaven star system, shrouded in endless mystery. To have existed from the primordial age until the present day was a terrifying concept. It meant that this family had witnessed the evolution of cultivation from ancient times, had survived the collapse of the celestial realm, and had seen the rise of the Thunder Celestial Temple. They had lived through every major transformation of the all-heaven star system. It was very possible that this primordial family knew the true secrets of the ancient celestial realm. The celestial spells they possessed alone would be enough to dominate the entire all-heaven star system. Aside from the rank 8 and rank 9 cultivation planets of the Alliance star system, Wang Lin had already learned all of this. During their journey here, Li Yuan had explained everything about the cultivation families to him. Because of this knowledge, Wang Lin remained completely calm when facing the 4 great families that inherited power from the celestial realm. The 2 old men who were holding back the fragment stamp above the pavilion exchanged a silent glance. After pondering for a moment, one of them revealed a wry smile. For fellow cultivator to possess such formidable spells and treasures, he said slowly, "You cannot possibly be an unknown figure. Please leave behind your name." Wang Lin replied calmly, "Xu Mu." The old man's eyes narrowed slightly. "Even though Brother Xu has not yet reached the Nirvana Scryer stage, we are unable to stop you. You are qualified to enter the collection pavilion." Just as he finished speaking, the old man beside him suddenly asked, "Does fellow cultivator Xu happen to have any relation to the Xu family of planet Donglin?" Wang Lin calmly glanced at the man but said nothing. The old man hesitated briefly. Then his eyes suddenly lit up. "If fellow cultivator is not part of the Zhu family," he said then on behalf of the Chen family, "I invite you to become a non-family elder of our clan." Wang Lin's eyes flashed slightly. A faint smile appeared on his lips. "That is not impossible," he said slowly. "However, my current objective is to enter the collection pavilion. I hope the 3 of you will allow me to pass." As he spoke, his gaze briefly swept toward the origin soul that had lost its physical body. That cultivator let out a sigh. His expression was complicated. After hearing Wang Lin's words, he realized that Wang Lin possessed considerable knowledge about the collection pavilion. The pavilion could only be entered after it was opened, and opening it required at least 2 members of the 4 great families. What followed was simple. The 3 of them joined forces to activate the pavilion. The 4 corners of the structure slowly trembled. The 4 towering horns gradually leaned toward each other until their tips touched. At the moment they connected, a gentle beam of light appeared. Where the horns met, an oval door formed entirely of light. The old man from the Chen family spoke calmly. "Fellow cultivator, Xu, my Chen family, has entered the collection pavilion hundreds of times. While obtaining a celestial spell depends greatly on luck, and each person sees something different, it is not entirely random. The longer you endure inside, the more precious the celestial spell you will obtain at the end." Wang Lin nodded slightly. From the memories he had taken from the Yao family member, he already knew that the 4 great families could not interfere with what happened inside the collection pavilion. Everything before him matched those memories perfectly. Without further hesitation, Wang Lin withdrew his magical treasures. He appeared before the door of light. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside. After Wang Lin entered, the old man who had lost his physical body let out a sigh. If we had known he was so powerful, we would not have attacked him in the first place. We could have simply allowed him to enter. With his cultivation, the highest he can reach is the 4th floor, just like us. Another old man shook his head. The 4th floor may be our limit, but his spells and magical treasures are extraordinary. We share the same cultivation level, yet it was obvious he was holding back. If he had not needed us to open the pavilion, I fear he would not have stopped after killing just one person. The bodiless old man gave a bitter smile. Indeed, I could tell that he originally intended to kill 2 people. If I had not escaped quickly enough, even my origin soul might have collapsed. Elder Chen spoke slowly. Enough. There is no point discussing it now. Since he has entered, he has entered. The celestial spell on the 4th floor will be his limit. What he obtains will depend entirely on his luck. The bodiless old man suddenly asked, Elder Chen, do you truly intend to invite that person to become a non-family elder of your Chen family? Elder Chen nodded. That man is extremely formidable. My Chen family requires such individuals. So please, fellow cultivators, do not compete with me. If he truly becomes an elder of my Chen family, then I ask that the 2 of you pretend not to know what happened to fellow cultivator Yao. As for fellow cultivator Lu's destroyed body, my Chen family will provide compensation. Fellow cultivator Song will also receive a gift from our family. Of course, this is all under the premise that he agrees to join us. Meanwhile, Wang Lin had arrived in a mysterious space. Grey mist filled the surroundings. His divine sense could not extend outward. Faint murmuring voices drifted through the mist from every direction, but the words were impossible to discern. Suddenly, the mist began to swirl violently. It gathered before Wang Lin, rapidly condensing. Within moments, it formed the shape of a person. The figure was entirely made of mist. Though its clothing was indistinct, its face was clearly visible. It appeared ordinary, yet the aura it emitted was vastly different from that of a cultivator. After forming, the mist figure calmly looked at Wang Lin. Then it raised its right-hand palm outward and remained completely still. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. From the Yao family members' memories, he knew that although everyone experienced a different process inside the pavilion, one thing was always the same. At the beginning, there would be a test of cultivation level. After pondering briefly, Wang Lin stepped forward. He raised his right hand and pressed his palm against the mist figure's palm. Instantly, a mysterious force entered Wang Lin's body. It circulated through him once before, withdrawing. A deep voice echoed through the mist. Rank 8 Greater Celestial. You may enter the 4th floor of the Collection Pavilion to test your luck for a celestial spell. Wang Lin slowly withdrew his hand. His eyes shone faintly. Rank 8 Greater Celestial, he murmured. I wonder how the celestial cultivation ranks are divided. I have not yet reached the peak of the corporeal yang stage. When I reach that peak, what celestial rank will I be? At that moment, the mist figure slowly began to dissipate. Wang Lin knew that once it vanished completely, he would be teleported to the 4th floor. Everything afterward would depend solely on luck. But no matter how fortunate he might be, he could only obtain a celestial spell from the 4th floor. Although Wang Lin did not know how many floors the collection pavilion possessed, one thing was obvious. The higher the floor, the more powerful the celestial spell. On the highest floors, even the most ordinary spell would be considered supreme compared to those below. However, the cultivation test could not be deceived. Everything depended on one's own strength, and strength itself was a form of luck. Only cultivators with sufficient power could obtain precious celestial spells. If one's cultivation was insufficient, there was no point even dreaming about it. Just as the mist figure was about to vanish completely, Wang Lin's eyes suddenly lit up. A bold idea appeared in his mind. The moment this thought emerged, his heart began pounding violently, and even his mouth became dry. After hesitating briefly, he clenched his teeth. A pagoda appeared in his hand. His eyes shone with a mysterious light as his left hand struck the pagoda. Instantly, The white-robed woman appeared before him. Wang Lin quickly retreated several steps. Forming a hand seal, he used his origin energy to control the woman. He guided her right hand forward, until it touched the slowly disappearing palm of the mist figure. At that instant, the mist figure trembled violently. Its body began collapsing. After a long moment, the deep voice echoed once more. Rank 9 Celestial Lord. You may proceed to the 9th floor of the collection pavilion to obtain celestial spells. Wang Lin's eyes blazed with excitement. He clenched his fist tightly. Without hesitation, he withdrew the woman back into the pagoda and returned the pagoda to his storage bag. His heart pounded wildly. Such intense emotional turbulence was extremely rare for him. There is a vast difference between obtaining a celestial spell through luck and being able to choose one.